Hey guys, we're going to be taking a look at the 2018 Nevada Senate race, giving our prediction on who we think is going to go ahead and win this election come the midterm. So we're going to take a look at what happened in the primaries, also taking a look at what happened in this election back in 2012, and then taking a look at some recent polling data that just came out on this particular matchup. So starting off here, in the Democratic primary, Jacky Rosen winning by a considerable margin, grabbing over 110,000 votes. 77.1% of the votes cast were on her side. And then in terms of the total turnout on the Democrat side, we had a little over 143,000 votes. And then we compare that over to the Republican primary, the incumbent Dean Heller getting just under 100,000 votes, but also winning by a considerable healthy margin there, grabbing 70% of the vote. And then on the Republican primary side, having about 142,000 votes cast. So already the Democrats looking positive for them, having a little bit more turnout in general. In these midterm elections, especially in primaries, you tend to not get quite as good of a Democratic turnout in comparison to the Republican side. So we do see that the Democrats slightly ahead of the Republicans here already just back in the primaries. Also, for an incumbent senator to get less votes than the challenger on the opposing side is also a really bad sign, with Dean Heller at a little over 99,000 votes compared to Rosen, who's already at over 110,000 votes. Because when you have the name recognition coming in as the incumbent senator, you'd certainly expect to get the majority of the vote here, but that wasn't the case with Rosen eclipsing him by over 10,000 votes. So already a good sign there for the Democrats in what's a seat that they feel like they have a great shot at potentially flipping over to their side from an incumbent Republican. So now we're going to go back and look at what happened in this particular race with Dean Heller 6 years ago. So the United States Senate election in Nevada in 2012, you can see an extremely competitive matchup. Dean Heller just getting over the line with 45.9% of the vote compared to his challenger, who had 44.7% of the vote. And in terms of where people are at right now in projecting how these midterms are going to show out, there's expected to be a lot more enthusiasm on the Democrat side. We've been seeing that in polling, where the Democrats' enthusiasm at the highest level usually polls between about 10 to 20% higher than the Republicans. So if you just take that into account in a race like this, that was already so close 6 years ago when there wasn't that enthusiasm gap, it's a bad sign as well in this case for the Republicans. But Nevada, it's a state that has shown they can elect either a Republican or a Democrat in statewide elections. Very competitive. But also another thing on the Democrat side here is Hillary Clinton was able to carry the state of Nevada in the 2016 general election over Donald Trump by about 2.5 percentage points. She still went on to lose, of course, to Donald Trump in the Electoral College. But whenever you look at Senate seats that you try to pick up, you look at a result where your presidential candidate was able to win and then see if they have a Democrat or a Republican. And then in this case, Hillary Clinton winning that statewide election, you feel like you have a pretty good shot at maybe flipping it back over to your party's side. So now we're going to move on over to the recent polling results that we just got out of the Gravis marketing. We're going to touch on a few of the questions that were asked in this polling. I'll link this down in the video description if you want to go through and read through every single question that was asked, but we're going to focus more on this particular Senate race. But just starting off here, Trump's job performance in terms of his approval, you add those up, you're at about 44%, and then disapproval at about 53%, so a negative 9-point spread there for Trump in the state of Nevada. And then moving down to Heller's job performance. And usually when you're a senator, your home state, you're almost always on the positive with the approval side. And when you're negative, usually you don't see a ton of those cases across the spectrum. But here with Dean Heller, a very bad sign for him right now. You add up his approval numbers, you get up to 37% compared to disapprove at 48%. So a negative 11-point gap there for Heller's job performance, which is a very ominous sign for him coming into this midterm election right now. So now we're going to move down to the polling where they have it head-to-head between Jacky Rosen and Dean Heller. And you can see in this poll, they have Rosen at a 4-point lead over Heller. And that's a great sign for challenger in this scenario. When you're incumbent, you have so many baked in advantages with name recognition and already winning an election in the past. So at this relatively early point in the process, where we're still quite a number of months away from the election, to already see the challenger pulling ahead by 4 points is certainly another bad sign for the Republicans and the incumbent Dean Heller in this case. And then one other question that I wanted to look at in this particular poll, we're going to go down here to question number 21. And it shows how the people in this particular poll voted back in 2016. And you can see an even split between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump supporters at 42% apiece. And what this is showing is that it's actually undersampling Clinton voters compared to Trump voters in this particular poll, because as we know, Clinton went on to beat Trump in the 2016 general election by about 2 to 3 percentage points. So if anything, this is sampling more on the Trump voter side than the Clinton voter side, and Rosen is still ahead by 4 points in this particular poll. So that's all the data I wanted to touch on in this particular video. My prediction at this point is certainly giving a data over to the Democrats and Jacky Rosen in what figures to be a pretty competitive race, but at this point, I'd probably give Rosen right at about winning between maybe about a 3 to 6 point margin. Even against an incumbent, it's looking pretty solid for her based on the numbers that we're looking at. So thanks guys for stopping on in. Subscribe for more. Check out all of our prediction videos over on our YouTube channel, and we hope to see you back here for future videos. Bye.